Hey, welcome to the video. This is a playthrough of an Empire campaign with Karl Franz in Total War Warhammer 2. But with this, I wanted to do something a little different. When I would play these campaigns, especially with friends, we'd always come up with, like our own little lore about a certain character, sometimes goofy, sometimes not. So that's kind of my idea here. So for Karl, at least, I wanted him to feel very Alexandrian, very aggressive, kind of like a we'll put his life on the line for his men type of leader. Here is the rebel faction that we have to deal with first to secure the homeland. But really, more importantly, these rebels call Karl Franz's legitimacy into question, so they need to be dealt with, and severely. Up here are some of the other Empire factions that I need to unite under me, because Karl's end goal here really is to ready the world of men for the incoming invasion of Chaos under Archaon and all the armies that come with him. So first things first is to deal with these rebels so we can reunite Reichland and really get this thing started. This first battle is pretty easy. Once the cav hits those archers in the back, it's pretty much over from there. Moving on to Grunberg. You'll notice that some of these I could auto-resolve, and I will do that later if it's easy or something like that. But for all these rebels, Karl's going to take this as a personal affront to his legitimacy. So he's going to manually seat all these battles. Here, usually, I would go after Eilhart. I decided to go after Helmgart. I don't know why, because they can't recruit out of a fort. So that army would be basically stuck there. But yeah, I decided to go after this. Don't really know why. Here, you can kind of see my strategy for this. I overload the left flank with infantry. I have Karl and the cav hit the gate, and all my range is on the far right side. And you can see they're not really even doing anything, but they are occupying 4 units of infantry over there and some great swords, which they're not attacking my infantry, so that's all great for me. The cav is going to push through this guy and go try to hit those mortars up there, because those, if they can just get unimpeded shots on my guys, that's going to be catastrophic. Once I get to those, it's really kind of just kill cleanup at that point with the cav. The unit of greatswords almost makes it to the town center where Karl is, which is not really a fight I want him to take, but they lose heart, and easy victory here. Relatively easy. Karl's going to get into position here to attack Eilhart, but I wanted to show this in the technology tree over here, Emissary to the Prince of Altdorf. I used to never do this in my playthroughs, but I've noticed that it makes the other Empire factions a lot more willing to work with you and sign treaties. I mean, you see some of these guys still don't want to work, but sign treaties, because the whole end goal of this is to hopefully unite all of these factions willingly. Karl gets some scattering reports from the north that one of his battle wizards has been captured in the Bloodpine Woods, so we're going to go get him back. And a nice little ambush here. I would never do this exact strategy in real life, because you can see my range is firing directly on my infantry, but it's fine, don't worry about it. And to the right, cav gets a nice rear charge on the infantry, and we get a nice decisive victory. Karl's then going to move to Eilhart to finish off whatever's left of the rebels. It's a good shot here. I actually got pretty lucky getting a fire wizard. I think you can get basically whatever kind. Really good shot. Fireball there. I think another one right here. But I think, maybe more than anything, having a wizard this early is really, really useful. And actually here, he snipes the Lord. And so we move on. Usually I go after Marienburg here, because you can't confederate them, and actually owning Marienburg is really, really good source of income. But the greenskin threat right there is just, I had to take that. Immediately after, reports from the east come in that Averland has been destroyed. Thankfully, Karl was over here to the east after rearming and refitting, and sure enough, Vlad von Karstein has taken Averheim. So next turn we're going to declare war and move in, and hopefully cut the head off the snake here, because as you can see on the map, they literally kill the ground that they occupy. Vlad gets gunned down like a dog in the town square here. And now that he's taken care of, we can move on to Steingart. And this is actually going to be the first battle where you can really see the new army that I have. More archers, more artillery. Really the idea is a strong infantry line that allows my damage dealers to do all the work. And surprisingly, that's faction destroyed. I get my first confederation here from Stirland, which considerably increases my land and kind of expands me up here near Manfred, which is going to be my next target. You'll see in a second in the map that Manfred has actually made the same mistake that Vlad made, where they just expanded too far too fast, and he doesn't have enough men to defend his capital, so I'm going to take it. And first we take out Tempelhof, but here's the thing. A good general will learn from his mistakes. A great general will learn from someone else's mistakes. So you can see here I'm checking out, he doesn't really have fortifications. And so Karl realizes he is also spread thin, and he needs to really focus on fortifications if he's going to hold what territory he has taken. With a lot of these battles against vampire accounts, they don't have any ranged, so my ranged is almost free to shoot willingly as long as I can protect them. But even here, after exhausting almost all of my ammo, still have to have infantry take the center. But we take his capital, which is incredibly important, and will be a lot easier to hold this territory. After that, we take Eschen, but Karl gets urgent reports from the capital that there is a vampire army right there at Kemperbad. So we hire our second general, Wolfram Hertwig, and he is a young general. So with that, he's going to be kind of bold, brash, very aggressive. And with that, he actually decides to attack this army here. And he loses about half his force, which is the garrison. But the decisive action did win the battle. We get our second confederation from Golden Order, and Karl's just going to move north and west, trying to chase down Manfred. We actually have Hertwig coming from the west, and he has half an army, but again, he is young and wants to kind of prove himself. Karl takes Kappelberg pretty easily, and the idea here is to have Karl come in from the east and Hertwig from the west to pincer Manfred, but here he marches south, and unfortunately he is right by Krugenheim, which is completely undefended. So of course, over the end turn, he actually attacks Needling, which was surprising. Karl unfortunately cannot get there in time, so he's at least going to take all the territory behind him so he can't retreat. It's really just trying to chase him down and corner the bald bastard so he can't escape. And if you thought he was going to be cool and leave Krugenheim, you were wrong. He easily kills everyone there, and so Karl is on the warpath for revenge. Because at this point it's personal. Karl sees all of these as citizens of the Empire. Out of desperation next turn, he tries to attack me here, as he really doesn't have any other option left. I really have cornered him this time. Next two turns are really just killing him, getting rid of him. And take Needling, if I feel like clicking on it, I guess.
No peace, just war.
This is the first battle where Karl has Deathclaw, his Imperial Griffin, so I wanted to show that real quick. That's going to make him a lot stronger, more like a mobile tank. Gelt, this is his first battle. Small error here. I thought I could lightning strike that army outside. I couldn't, so I had to just do a siege battle, and I didn't want to. But this is a really good example of the new siege design that Gelt is working on. Basically an overwhelming amount of firepower, where if we can take out the towers and clog up the walls with infantry, and let our mortars and archers sort of rain down and do the damage like they're supposed to. Plus, it's Gelt's army, so I head up to a shot like this. Especially when they're clumped up like this, magic attacks like this are really good at damaging enemy morale, and it kind of gets that battle over quickly when I don't want it to be over anymore. Haupt Anderson was garrisoning the vampire lands to the southeast, but we get reports of Helmand Gorst up here, and that is the last of the vampires. So they are done and will never be in Empire lands ever again, thankfully. I wanted to throw this in here I wouldn't say Carl's racist per se, but in this playthrough, it's a very human first perspective. Really only focused on humans. Don't even want to trade, have any sort of agreement with anyone else. Along with the humans, Averheim down here is being attacked, so we're gonna go help them out, even though they haven't confederated with us yet. Because, like I said, this is, you know, Empire. These are all people of the Empire that Carl wants to build. And you know who's not of the Empire is all these Bretonnian factions that are going to be a lot easier for me to take, but really it's more about I want my west flank secured. So if I can go all the way to the ocean, then it'll be more secure. I don't need another faction there. Carl's going to keep moving northeast. Take out these Azag the Slaughter and the Greenskins. After the Scourge of the Vampires, really any non-humans in the Empire now, the first order of business is clear them out, and we can move on from there. Gelt is just going to continue on in Bretonnia. I'm not going to go too much into the battles, because Bretonnians have such low morale, and Gelt's strategy with the overwhelming firepower, it's over pretty quick. I usually don't even have to gain the walls. Here, along with the whole idea of getting all non-humans out, the Red Duke is in march stance to the south, and if I can kill him while he's in march, that's going to take out his whole army, and it's going to make conquering Bretonnia a lot easier. This is a good battle to show the new battle strategy that Karl Franz and Gelt have been working on in more of an open field environment. That front line of infantry holding firm, back line of archers, and magic attacks, things like that. Mortars staying protected in the back. Karl's going to continue on northeast, take Nagenhof, really just trying to free any Empire faction. Up here, taking out the this Leafcutter tribe. This is gonna get me in good with Norden and Midland, which I really want Boris Todbringer as a lord, so that's very important for me. Gelt is gonna push his advantage over here at Muselin. You can see we're actually already getting to the coast, which is really, really good. That's what we want, and it's really more about not letting the Red Duke, you know, kicking him while he's down, basically. Trying to press the advantage. We're going to continue to clear out the Leafcutter tribe. They're not going to really cause too much of an issue. I did want to show this formation here, a little diamond formation. I just knew that they didn't really have the numbers to push through, so my archers really just wanted to do all the work. They actually got hurt a little bit, so it wasn't the best idea, but it was fun. Going to take Lioness, and with that, that should be the end of the Red Duke. So Gelt is now free to terrorize the rest of Bretonnia. Karl moves northeast to take Red Eye Mountain. This is a good battle to show basically the finalized version of the strategy in a siege, specifically with a strong lord like Karl. 'Cause they're all gathering right there. You can see all the magic happening, literally. But the idea is that Karl, being a sort of flying tank almost, can sort of bunch up right here towards the entrance and get a lot of these high value units to bunch up where my mortars and magic and everything like that can work. It's not perfect. I mean, he's not invincible and he barely gets away there. But it's a really good strategy, and as long as Karl is smart and doesn't overextend himself, it seems to work out pretty well. Moving to the north now, more reports that we are getting Skaven in the north. And in the Warhammer universe, humans don't believe Skaven exist. So I'm not really sure how I'm gonna, how I work that one in there, but maybe Karl's just smart. Skaven are very similar to a lot of these factions I've been fighting recently with low morale, so it's a lot easier to clear them out. Karl is going to take Karek Raziak? I don't know. Cut me some slack here. He's going to take that and basically cripple Azag. The army up north, it's not a successful ambush, but the Skavens still do have an advantage, 2 armies to my 1. Kind of get me, not really in a corner here, but you can see I find a nice clearing in these trees up on a hill to set up. And with where they come in the battlefield, they have such a long time trying to march to get to me that by the time they even come close, my mortars have done their work, done their job, and can move on and continue clearing out to the east, moving towards Norden. And of course, it's more Skaven, but not a very big garrison, so we can clear them out. Gelt is going to move to try to take out this really last faction of vampires, but again, I make another strategic error with Gelt. I thought I had lightning strike with him. It's really the only reason I thought to attack 3 armies at once, hoping to take out one of them, but I don't, so I just have to fight the whole thing. And you can see me poorly use some spells here. Don't really know why I included that. That's alright. But very typical strategy right here in the corner between these rocks, this mountain. Hold a strong defensive line, magic, archers, artillery. This was incredibly hard fought because it was 3 full armies at one time, but thankfully with the superior strategy, it was really not too hard. Moving north to Ehrengrad. Wouldn't know it. More Skaven. Isn't that great? Now, Karl is moving west. Originally, the idea was to meet up there in the north to help clear it out more. But after finding all this Skaven, that's just a new priority that we have to take. Gelt continues on his warpath in Bretonnia, now taking out Bordelot. A little indecisive here for some reason. I'm not really sure why I kept that in. But we take Bordelot. Close victory. Really wasn't that close. Going to continue on with Hertwig moving north. All of these runes, I mean, I basically know they're all Skaven, so I'm preparing for that. And we got Throt the Unclean. Some of these battles at this point, I mean, I don't really have much to say about it. You can kind of see what I'm doing, but it's just a cool battle, man. Yeah, it's just cool. Just watch. Another close victory again. Really was not that close, but we're not going to worry about that. Gelt's going to continue on, trying to take out Bordelot officially, which we do. And continue, you know, this is part of the campaign where a lot of this, I mean, it's a lot of, you know, repetitive grunt work because there's no grand strategy anymore. I know my strategy. And at this point, it's just taking the time to actually clear out all of these individual settlements, and they're quite a lot. But the whole idea is to get this territory, clear it out, you know, rearm, prepare, get our defenses up for the incoming invasion of Chaos. Next on Gelt's kill list is the Fey Enchantress, and this is the southern tip of Bretonnia. And if we can clear this out, this is actually a really kind of nice, natural, southern stopping point where I can really stop expanding territory and really just defend. I wanted to throw this in here because these come up in the Empire campaign. You'll just get random messages that different settlements need help. And as, you know, Karl wants to unite the Empire, I'm going to come help these guys whenever I can. But this is just a fun siege battle because I'm not really controlling a lot, so I really just have to focus on the fun stuff like gunning down these mammoths and using the halberdiers to just kind of get them there to stay there, because once you get them enraged like that, then they're out of control and they're just going to attack the closest thing they see. I'm holding the gate with more halberds and my lord, but that was just a fun kind of quick event that I like to do. This is the end of Alberic Bordelot. So now that he's officially done, we can officially move on to the Fey Enchantress. Karl's gonna come up here with reinforcements to take Hell Pit. It's a very hard battle, very well garrisoned force, but with reinforcements we can take it. Gelt's gonna move on to Castle Carcassonne. Fey Enchantress, actually, I wish I threw that in there. She hit me with a comet that really, really hurt me. but we got the win. Expanding north for this island, I just know through my previous campaigns that every single time those Dark Elves up there will come try to invade you, especially after you take Marienburg. So this is really a preemptive strike, which, you know, don't really know how I'm going to really sell that to my citizens, but I'm the Emperor, so I guess I don't really have to. Right here, you can see that my archers are undefended, but usually when they're clumped up like this, even when they send a flying unit or some kind of cav to try to harass me, I can focus fire them down so quickly that it really doesn't matter too much. Moving on to Prague. This is really important territory, Prague and Volksgrad here, because Volksgrad is really the crucial point of my defensive strategy for Chaos. So these lands specifically are the most important for me to grab, and grab early as possible. And you can see a different kind of Skaven here, so isn't that just wonderful? But these are, you know, really the most important to get early and get well defended. I like this one. I have 2 armies here, so I have 8 mortars. Man, this is just fun. These are just fun shots of mortars. This is like some of my favorite things to do in this game. But, you know, you just sit there and you let your mortars do the thing, man. You just watch. But 8 mortars, all those archers, really nothing they can do about it. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys here. Carl may have had a couple cocktails when he was playing these turns, so you might hear some music in the background, but we're not gonna worry about that. Moving east for Volksgrad, again, that is the crucial point. And I'll kind of go over that strategy later when we get to that, eventually. Spoiler alert. But more Gelt, clearing out Bretonia. If I do another video like this, I'll honestly probably cut a lot of this stuff, just because it really does get very repetitive. Stroham, one of my newer generals, is the one taking up this attack up north. This is a lot harder of a attack than I thought it'd be, and Stroham gets very depressed, and I changed his name to the Grim here to show that he's depressed, and then I forgot that Volkmar is already called the Grim, so I changed that later, but, you know, oops. This is Karak Ziflin, or Karak Ziflin, if I remember correctly. Nothing personal, really, but I need to clear out that mountain range, man. And I can't really be having dwarves and not humans in there. This one, you see that the dwarves, it's a lot harder. My strategy does not hold up as well because the dwarves just have so much better morale and they stay around longer that my infantry line is really kind of pushed to the limit there. This is the kind of last little bit I need to clear out of Skaven from the north so I can finish preparations. Here, I am about to attack Llewyn Leoncourt, but he is allied with Boris Todbringer because for some reason he won't accept my confederation, and it's very annoying, but now I have to change strategy. So I'm going to sort of take this time in a lull in action to sort of start building those armies, the anti-chaos armies. Gelt can't go north and attack Llewyn, so he gets impatient and comes south to attack the Beastmen. Here is the first initial invasion of chaos. It's small, but it'll be a good test of my strategy. Here, I really tried, man. I really tried to get Kislev to come to my side. I even tried intimidating them by having those 2 armies standing outside. They did not budge, so had to invade, unfortunately, and they really do quite a bit of damage to me, but it had to be done. It just had to be done, especially with chaos there. If you're not going to capitulate, then, you know, we don't really have anything to talk about. Down here, I think I'm going to get attacked or ambushed by this Skaven, and I'm not prepared. This army, Gelt's army, is, you know, wounded. So I'm really trying to just throw together whatever guys I can. But actually, Skaven don't end up coming and attacking me. It's this other Beastmen army, which is easier for me to take out than that Skaven army really would have been. Gives Gelt time to recover, and Stroham comes down from the north. I guess he's still the Graham. I haven't done Grave yet, but he comes down from the north to fight Ikit. And Ikit does a really good job of falling directly into my strategy of charging at Stroham to try to get him out of the way. And that works. I can focus fire him, but yeah, that nuke, that hurt. I'm not gonna lie. But all things considered, it took out 1 unit and 3 of his, so could be a lot worse. This is the first battle versus Chaos, and this is also the first time I'm going to be able to test Volkmar's battle strategy for the Chaos Invasion. And that's why this Prague region was so important, is this little land bridge right here, this natural choke point. And my first layer of defense in my Chaos strategy is going to be that natural choke point. I'm glad I got this opportunity because my initial run, you can see my wizard died the first battle. Volkmar almost dies here, and my battle priest almost dies as well. So we're gonna have to, kind of go back to the drawing board and really just tweak the strategy, because it is a good strategy, but I just need something to hold that line better. Karl and new general Marcus Lightdorf come in as reinforcements, really with impeccable timing, and with those 2 fresh armies, it's really just clearing out what's left. You can see this last army, Chaos, is in March, so once we attack them, then they are done for. And this is just, more battle shots. Come on. You can see really good strategy here. Karl taking up about 4 units by himself, while mortars rain down all around him. Aha! Finally. Okay, so here. He is officially Grave Stroham now, so no more name copying. Gelt is going to continue taking the rest of Ikit's territory. I don't really know why this is in here. This is just like a random greenskin battle, so I'm not really sure why that's in there, but it is. Gelt moves on to Skavenblight. Another pretty hard battle, but thankfully Ikit, if he doesn't really properly garrison his forces, it's a lot easier to take, so the earlier the better. Gelt's going to continue moving south because at this point, now the natural endpoint is Sartosa. So 2 armies going to attack Sartosa. Another very hard siege battle, very well garrisoned, but with the 2 armies it's not as hard. Get a confederation from Nordland, which includes now that we're getting attacked from Wulfric and really a lot of those Norska armies up north. But with the newly outfitted armies that I have with those Hellstorm rockets, a lot of these factions without range are going to have a really, really hard time coming close to me in battle. Marathi actually declares war and kills my guy, so now I have to go burn Ulthuan and all of their new settlements because, they started it. And because they started it, I had to bring the Armada. And at this point in the game, I probably have 16 to 18 armies, and I don't have that much to do besides preparing for Chaos, so I'm able to send 9 armies over here to Ulthuan, and they do a pretty good job of defense initially. I even try to get an ambush in there, but with 9 armies, it's just an overwhelming amount, and they have more territory in Ulthuan than they can really, I guess, hold properly. And I finally get Midland to form a confederation with me. So now I have all of Ulthuan. They couldn't hold up. And I have my empire. Frozen Landing here. I guess a second part of my strategy that I didn't really think about is that they can also bypass me in a corridor to the north. So that territory there that I was just taking, if I take that, I can intercept them there as well. So it really does corner them and kind of makes my strategy more complete. I get a back-to-back, really, confederation with Ostland and Wissenland, and then we're moving northwest. Stroham is really going up north where the Dark Elves all are. I did not see those armies. The only really way out of this is to attack Venomglade like we did, take it. But all this territory is territory that I don't want. So I'm actually, for the first time, going to start signing treaties with Hexawaddle and Mazdamundi, because I don't want that territory at all. It's not inhabitable. I don't want it. And this is back to securing that corridor that I was talking about up north in perfect timing, because now is the full official invasion of Chaos. We have our plans and all we can do is fight. I have a scout here, Oleg Vissen, go to just sort of scout out so I can actually see where all these armies are and what they're doing. I'm kind of moving these guys around just sort of to get the best possible scenario I can, but they overextend a little bit, and I'm able to take out, this first two initial armies through lightning strikes before any reinforcements really even get to them, which is incredibly helpful, because the more armies I can take out before having to actually fight Archaon, the better. And even with taking out those two armies, Karl has to do something bold that will kind of decide. So Karl does a fake retreat, and hoping that Archaon chases, which he does, which allows Karl to pull back beyond the choke point, and now he can come back and lightning strike after a turn of rest. And first to be lightning struck is Prince Sigvald, which is one of the three Chaos Lords that I need to kill in order to defeat the Chaos Invasion. And Karl's going to come in here and fly and take out Prince Sigvald personally. Karl's going to come in and basically lightning strike the very next army that he sees. And these lightning strikes are really what wins us these engagements, because even with all those reinforcements around, the lightning strike denies the reinforcements. And so all these extra armies don't really mean anything. Even still, Karl does need to go back after fighting those two armies to refit and get his troops healthy. I try to push north here to Nagrand and see 5 Chaos armies, so you can see I swiftly turn around. Unfortunately, while Karl is resting, Kolek's Sun Eater decides to actually attack Volksgrad, which we knew this was coming, and this is part of the strategy. This is technically the first part of the strategy that they just kind of went behind. But we knew this was coming, and so my very brave General Lightdorf goes and really throws himself on the line to try to occupy those hell cannons, because they were really messing up my walls and my towers and my guys. All my guys here, all the soldiers, my general, everyone knows that they're gonna die. But we know that if we try to hold off as much as we can and kill as many of these Chaos as we can, we might buy some time for Karl to refit and the rest of our reinforcements to get here in time. With that, my men fought incredibly well. I could not be happier. We actually almost kill Kolek here. We get him down very, very low health, take out several units of ogres that he had, kill a lot of his guys, but unfortunately it is a valiant defeat in the end. But that did buy us the time that we actually needed. And we need it because this is it. This is the big battle. This is Archaon and his armies. And this is actually the final go for my strategy. If you recall, my first strategy, my general and my hero were getting really, really hurt. So now I have these units of flagellants, which I always like to have sort of like lore accurate armies, and Volkmar would have flagellants in his army, but really these flagellants will fight to the death. They will never retreat. And so that's what I needed, and I stacked in 3 separate lines. So when the first line would kind of get broken and push back into the second line of reinforcements, you can see it creates this choke point, a perfect choke point on this natural bridge. And I really did not think I was going to win this battle. This was the second layer of defense. You know, I really expected Archaon to win here, but Volkmar the Grim kills him in single combat, and my strategy worked. And with that, I have cut the head off the snake. I have killed Archaon, I killed Sigvald, and the rest of the time is going to be cleaning up the rest of these Chaos armies and trying to fight my way to Kolek Suneater, who is the last legendary lord that I need to kill. But in a very real sense, he is the one who razed Volksgrad to the ground and killed all my men. So really, it's not over until he's dead and in the ground. Which, I mean, he's like as tall as a giant hill, so, you know, you know what I mean, right? But here it is, he's running like a coward. Carl takes him. Oh, he runs even more. What a wuss. And he can't run far enough. And Carl kills him. And that's it. So, thank you for watching. And I might do something like this again, I don't know. But I had quite a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoyed.